It's a beautiful dry day here in Tondela out in glorious Portugal. The flags are flying. We're going to stick Bjorn in this car here and Vanessa in the other one. I've got that right, yes? Car 1 is the... you know what? I think it is. Let's have a look at the car setup. Everybody's looking pretty relaxed here. We're going to drop the downforce some. No, we're not. We're going to increase the downforce some. I think 15.7 as a starting point. I think a 16 as a starting point is the way to go, given that this is a windy corners kind of a deal. Tyre pressure, we'll leave it as it is. Suspension will, what are we going to want here? We're going to want a little bit more suspension, I think. So a bit more oversteer on this one, and we'll gear towards acceleration. That's my plan. I'm sticking with it. Right, so we've got super softs on, so they don't last very long. But, you know, we were only doing practice here, so that's all fine. Meanwhile, we'll run exactly what I can remember of the same setup for Bjelland as well. Low downforce with all these corners, that doesn't feel right to me. What do we want here? We want a bit more oversteer. In fact, we've got about the right amount of oversteer according to his mechanic. I find it intriguing how the mechanics always disagree on what the correct setup should be. But hey, it wouldn't be racing if it was easy. Weight stripping, shall we? Do I want to? Yeah, let's give it a go. Bjorn, we're going to strip some weight out of your car there, chum. What should we do? Reliability. Yeah, we'll take some out of the wing. Now then, how do you? How does one? Ah, I see. Right. Well, we can't take any out of the wing because they're stock. Let's take a little bit of reliability out of your engine. Plus 30. You can get plus 120 performance if you go all the way down. That's insane. Lose 10% reliability. Yeah, worth it. Well worth it. In fact, we can go more than that. Let's go 15%. Yeah, speedy. Right, we'll leave the gearbox alone because it's going to get something of a thrashing this weekend. But we will just a little bit less on this chancy suspension that we've got going on. Everything else we'll leave alone. Meanwhile, because we treat both cars independently, we'll knock 5% off that. We'll take 5% off the engine as well. Plus 15 performance, miraculous. We'll leave the brakes alone. We'll leave the gearbox alone because, you know, there's chancy and then there's ridiculous. So we lost 25% overall reliability. Hold on, overall weight slider. No, don't mess with that. That's just going to reduce them all equally. And gained 75 performance on Bjorn's car, whereas Silvera's we've gained 20 performance. We're just going to have to see how that pans out, I guess. Right, we'll stick Silvera on the track first. Off you go, and then we will stick Mr. Bjelland out as well to go and get some good feedback. Let's go for maximum zoom out, because that would make a bit of a change, wouldn't it? Right, thump it. Give the car everything you've got there. Now, let's see what we can get out of this. Now, the car's not well suited to this track. We've got a halfway decent gearbox, but I doubt it's going to be the most competitive in the world. This is simply going to be a case of let's see what we can get out of it. And already Silvera's form is dropping, which, you know, I'm not thrilled about. We'll leave her out there longer, so we'll flag Mr. Bjelland to come in. We'll let Silvera record a lap time and see where we get with that. I might also put Bjorn on soft tyres rather than super soft for his for race day, because we're using him as our insurance policy. Right, let's go talk to Bjorn's car here and see what he makes of it. Right, downforce. He doesn't like the downforce in the slightest. What do we got? So things ought to be heading towards lower downforce. Okay, we can do that. It doesn't seem right. Let's take it down quite a bit. That's a chunky amount of downforce adjustment we've got there. We'll keep the handling exactly where it was because that was great, and then we've already edged towards acceleration. So one more notch there. One more notch there. Thank you. Because surely you want acceleration on this track. Let's go for that and see how we get on. Now, it's a 32-lap race, so it's going to be multiple pit stops. So going out on full-on super soft tyres is maybe not the smartest thing to do. I mean, the durability on soft tyres isn't that much better, but the performance isn't that much worse. So I think we're gonna go with just soft tyres. And see if that makes any additional difference beyond what it might accomplish during the race itself. Right, Silvera's flagged to come in, but she has recorded a lap time. She is faster than Hans double flipping zero. In your face, you smarmy racing driving man. Masalada third, Hertz fourth. Obviously, we expect to get beaten once again. Oh, she's in the garage already. Look, let's prep to send her out. And she's given pretty much the same report that her co-driver gave, except she's gone the other way. She's saying she wants more downforce. Well, I'm happy to give it to you if you think it's going to make you better, but you already recorded quite a pacey lap there. I don't want to go up that high. It feels like it's going to hurt on the acceleration side of things. But, I mean, what do I know? I've only been doing this for 3 seasons. Right, let's shorten those gears. And we'll keep the oversteer, understeer exactly where it's ended up. Stint's fine. Tyre choice, we'll stick with the super softs. Do I really want to bring Silvera in more times? Well, she's going to be faster on the track, right? That's going to happen. So we might as well see what we get out of that. Yeah, I mean we've weight stripped the car, so who knows? Right, Bielen's on his flying lap, so we'll see how he gets on this time round, and we'll see if Silvera prefers the newfangled adjustments that we have put in place. Hard to say. So Silvera's on her flying lap. Bieland has managed to lock in 8th. Well, we'll bring him in, and we'll see how that goes. Kotsomasilela, the aero is much better. Nice one. Whereas Bieland was saying that the handling was off. Well, there's a turn up for the books. Right, let's pause it up here and see what we've got. Downforce, very poor. Right, so your recommendations about reducing the downforce were all completely skew with, weren't they? Right, let's get you up to there. Right, see, look, that's more about what you want, isn't it? So in this one, that was only poor. You might want even more than that. All right, well, let's try you on a 16.8. See how you get on with that. Suspension stiffness. Well, that's right down the middle. That's quite nice. Gear ratios. We've already wanged it quite a long way towards acceleration. I think that's possibly the way to go. Good. Yep. Tyres look fine. Get back out there. Drive that car. Let's have a look and see how Vanessa's getting on here. She's still the fastest driver on the track, although her tyres are about to give out. Possibly ought to bring her in before she rips through them. Or we could leave. I mean, there's barely enough time to get her out for another lap. It would have been a shame. I would have quite liked to see what she could have done better there. But let's see what we've ended up with. So downforce is only okay. So even more downforce. Is that what you're telling me? maybe a bit more oversteer. Now, we haven't really tweaked the oversteer much. Ah, now. So actually, she wants a little bit less oversteer. Speed balance exactly where it is. Less oversteer, more downforce. I mean, this is starting to get silly as far as downforce is concerned, but I'll apply it. I'm not necessarily a believer. Leave that speed balance alone, and a bit more understeer. There we go. That feels like it could be the winner. Right, let's... well, you've broken those tyres. Let's put softs on, just so that... Is that a good plan? Yeah, just so you don't burn... In case we need 4 tyres. Get out there. It'll be fine. It's all good. It's all good here. Right. So her previous lap time was 1:11, but that wasn't a flying lap. Okay, so that's worth bearing in mind. Hopefully this gives her enough time to just kind of get a feel for it as she cuts up her teammate there who was just starting a flying lap, who kind of goes, oh, cheers then. Oh, I see how it is. Yes, you do see how it is. We have a number 1 and a number 2 driver in this team, and we also have a number 3 driver, buddy, and that's you. Now then, who's this ahead of Silvera at the moment? Do we know? We do not know. But there she goes, caning it through. Beautiful work. This form number doesn't look good. But, well, she's loving the changes to the downforce. So I guess much higher downforce is suiting her quite nicely. And with a minute and a half to go in the practice session, well, who knows what we're going to find. Interesting. She's still got the fastest lap, which is also interesting. Could this be the year of Silvera? Her latest lap was a little bit slower, but I haven't got her on maximum red, thrash the hell out of everything this time round. So, and also there's traffic on the track, which will also make a difference. So there we go. That's wrapped that up. Bjelland won't have done anything better. Handling feels awesome. Well, it's just as well because you're kind of stuck with it. Either this or what you had on the last go. So she racked in another 1:11.165, which is actually fast enough to be second. So she is very, very fast. But 00 is only running soft tyres rather than super soft. So that's a better strategy. If he's able to stay out a little bit longer, that could make all the difference when race day rolls around. So there you go. As much as it didn't need confirming, Vanessa is number 1. Everybody else is not number 1. Bulldozer Power have a crazy, awesome driver lineup this season, Colonel. Failure, you are #amazeballs. Don't say amazeballs. Channel 6, Rachel Noy, great session for Bulldozer Power. Colonel Failure must be grinning from ear to ear. I rarely grin. JTV Sport with Carlotta Marquez. Silvera came top of the standings with 00 and Puppet following behind in second and third. JTV Sport, they don't go in for colour commentary. Vanessa Silvera, OMG level engineering from the team today. See, giving props to the team. Nicholas, you would do well to learn from your teammate. Loved every second I spent out there. Now go and win the race. Now, we have somewhat committed to going on super soft tyres with Vanessa. She hasn't got any expertise vis-a-vis the regular soft compound. So we can get extra performance out of them. We'll take race trim, obviously. Do we go risk? Do we go performance, right? If we're coming into the pits more often, well, which do you go then? 15% performance increase, make the most of being on the track, or reduce the chances that there is a problem at the pit stop. No, we're going aggressive with this race. That's how we're going. We're taking chances. Super soft tyres, he's not going to race those. Light-footed. Well, in which case we'll take race trim and light-footed, and we'll still keep him. Actually, if he's nursing the car, we could possibly strip the weight a little bit more. But we won't, because we're taking enough risks as it is. Right, both of them are reasonably happy with the downforce. Both of them are overjoyed with the handling and the speed balance. That will do quite nicely. Driver strategy. Vanessa, drive it like you hate it. Nikki, Let's give you 1 lap of drive it like you don't like it very much. And then after that, we'll tweak it. Now, where's the tyre switch up? I want to change your tyres. Surely you do that before you head to the race. Change setup. That's a button that you press, isn't it? There we go. Right, Nick, I want you... Hang on, he can nurse his tyres a little bit longer. You can stay on the super softs, but I'm going to have you driving less aggressively. So we're going to drop you down quite quickly to a less aggressive format. Yes. 15 laps. You expect to get 15 laps out of these tyres? I don't flipping think so. I would be incredibly impressed if that... I would be stunned if that was the case. 36 laps. He's going to have to come in twice. You can't possibly keep him out there for just 2 pit stops. He'll be driving so slowly by the end of it, and he'll run out of fuel. There is that. Okay, right. Yes. All right, we'll see how it goes. I'm going to change his strategy there. We're going to put him on neutral immediately. Tyre wear. Actually, we'll give you a... No, we'll keep it on neutral. Right, Vanessa, let's have a look at your car here. So, you're not going to need much fuel, Vanessa. You're going to be in quite quickly. That's the aim. Now then, the question is, do we try and bring her in, like, estimated laps 3 to 5 off that set? My goodness. Because we could aim to get her in at, like, 5 laps in. And then while everybody else is coming in doing their thing, we could potentially we could potentially have the open track in front of us. Let's go for the soft tyres. We can't do that many pit stops, right? We have taken the performance increase, but honestly, that many pit stops is really going to hurt us. Right, 7 to 9 versus 11 to 13. Oh, I'm agonising over this stuff because the successes I've had so far this season have largely been because of my pit kind of strategy that I've employed. All right, no, we'll go out. We'll aim for an early pit stop. What is it? 7 to 9. All right, well, it's going to be closer to 7 than it is to 9, isn't it? So we'll go for 8 laps of fuel. 9 laps of fuel so that we can really hammer it, and then we'll come in around lap 7, and then we will decide whether to stick her out on a longer stint second time around. Right, so I have set her on driver like you hate it. Yeah. Okay, right, well, we're just going to see it. Right, Hong Lao and Salmone Longo. This is rattling along, isn't it? On the front row of the grid, followed by Plastic and Masilella. Wolfrath and Shaw on the whatever row that was, followed by Maiko Kitasato and Xiao Wu Yao. Steve Mush and Nicholas Hazel on the 5th row of the grid, followed by Megahertz and Vanessa Silvera, who is in 9th overall. Playmoto's got a broken neck and a bandage next to Sarah Thomas. And then you've got Trolley Foddo, P. Ruto, Scene Mendez, Finger Puppet, and on the back of the grid, you have Scott Price and Hans 00. There's quite a few drivers out here who are running on soft rather than super soft. It's going to be a day spent in the pits. Let's get trackside. So the all-important start of the race here. I'm hoping Hazel's going to not get in the way of Silvera as she puts her foot down, but she's already boxed in. It's not helping. Oh, someone's off. Who's that? Driving like a donut, but I didn't see who that was. We got Silvera immediately behind Hazel, as she should go through on this corner. Right, Hazel, hold the rest of them up. Vanessa's got a job to do. She's going, we're watching the wrong car. Watch the right car. Here we go. Right. So Silvera now up to 9th. This is good stuff. Let's go in for a slightly closer picture. Oh, got a bit of a nudge there, but hopefully that wasn't too damagey in nature. Who is that in 8th? That's Megahertz, driving like a flipping maniac. But Silvera is very much on the pace. We're going to ease her back a little bit because as much as she's coming in early, we don't want her coming in on lap 3. Silvera drops to 9th. And I mean, this is what we expected to happen. The other cars are going to be faster than she is. Sarah Thomas is the last driver in that top 9 group who is... and actually, Thomas is on soft tyres, which is pretty impressive stuff, really, because she's going to stay out a little bit longer. And Silvera's tyres have taken a bit of a kicking already. Come on, get through. This is where Silvera's absence of overtaking ability is really quite painful. Right, we're down to like half tyres here, so I'm gonna burn the fuel to try and make a difference. Come on, Vanessa. That's it. There we go. Feels like we might have secured 8th now, but we're going to need to get a lot higher than that, given how early we're going to be pitting. But it's... Yeah, we don't... I mean, we're, what, 4.8 seconds off the... Oh, flipping heck. Who let them through? That was Thomas there with a massive piece of overtaking. Just a brilliant piece of driving. And that's what overtaking skill does for you, and Vanessa just does not have it. We're just going to have to do this through pit stops. The tyres are already looking awful. We're going to ease it back a bit, but that's going to leave her, perilously uncompetitive. We've got another couple of laps before we can bring her in. Don't worry about how little fuel you've got there. It's all part of the plan. Hazel, meanwhile, he's got, what, 70% of his tyres. He's got 11 laps of fuel left. It's actually looking pretty good for Mr. Hazel to stay out a bit longer as Silvera drops to 12th to 13th. The tyres, I think, are letting her down here because she's got them properly cooked. Yeah, this is not going well at all. Hazel's down in 19th. And he's only driving kind of, a moderate race. He's not driving like a complete Jesse. He's having a go. No, this is not working. This is just not happening. Silvera is deeply disappointing as she drops to 15th, having done so well in practice. She's got about a lap and a bit left to go. The tyres haven't cooled off even slightly. She's got 17% left on the tyres. 2 laps, give or take, left of fuel. We'll bring her in this time because the tyres aren't going to last much longer than that. We'll stick her out on soft. We're going to have to go for a stay out for as long as possible approach, I suspect. Parts all look fine. Pit strategy. No, we're going to go fast because, otherwise... okay, Hazel just overtook Silvera. I don't know what's up with her. But she is driving really, really badly. In fact, she's driving horrendously badly. What's wrong with Silvera? I mean, she's lost 4 seconds on Hazel already. Well, that's just not a good sign. As Hazel's got just under half his tyre capacity left and 8 laps of fuel. Well, this is incredibly disappointing. I guess cooking the tyres was what did it. Hazel, meanwhile, is up to 10th, which, I'm surprised. Silvera's in last. Right. She's dead to me for the remainder of this race. Let's keep her in neutral. Nurse that car. Hazel's in 7th, but we are in the pit stop area now. And actually, given that he's still out on his original tyres, clearly the strategy to have better performance out of the tyres was the right one. It looks like Wu Yao's going to get the better of him in an upcoming corner. But Hazel is not going to make that easy. And let's not forget Wu Yao is on fresh rubber. Can we pit for fresh tyres soon? No, not for another lap, at least. I want you to go real easy on those tyres. The longer you can stay out, the better it's going to look. And if you compare Hazel's towers to those drivers on soft tyres ahead of him, this strategy is actually looking pretty effective. Yep, he's getting overtaken now, and he has to come into the pits at some point, but the tyres are okay. They are starting to heat up, and he will start to lose a lot of speed unless we tell him to take it easy. Take it easy, Nicholas. I know it was your birthday, and I only got you a card, but I'm putting all my faith in you now. Come on, turn the ice pack on your tyres. Let's keep them alive. You can go a little bit better on the fuel if you like, because I think we're only going to get another 1-2 laps out of you. Well, 2 laps is probably pushing it. He's up in 4th. That's incredible, especially when you consider that the 3 drivers ahead of him have all pitted already, and they've already burned half their tyres. This is not bad going from Nick Hazel. I'm very tempted to bring him in this lap so he doesn't have to drive quite like such an old lady. That's a very slow old lady, obviously. Right, well, he did well on that one. We're not going to fill him up completely. We'll drop a couple of laps worth of fuel because that'll make him a bit faster. How do all the parts look? They look good. We're going to risk it for a biscuit. Let's get it on. So I feel pretty good about this. Hazel's performed remarkably well so far. How's it gone? Doesn't look too bad. Right, we'll get him back out in last place, but that's okay. It's only Silvera ahead of him, and as everybody knows, Silvera's rubbish. All of those who were saying that Silvera was the driver of the future, she isn't. But she's also on a conserve strategy now, so we're going to see how she gets on staying out a little bit longer. Quite why our tyres are degrading as fast as they are is down to the weather, where it is a very sunny day, 25 degrees, and it's only going to get warmer. The rain that I suspected might turn up just for laughs hasn't. Meanwhile, Silvera is doing a fine job at not letting her faster teammate through. She might be terrible at overtaking, but she is absolutely brilliant at getting in your way when you want her out of the way. Get out of the way. You're slowing both the cars down. There we go. Longo's in the pits, having to change his tyres again, and we've been able to capitalise on that, but you know, not that much. 18th and 19th. This is the word we're looking for here is inauspicious, if not worse than that. Plastic has gone into the pits, but I think we're that far back that she might be out before we get past. No, there we go. That's another car overtaken. Now, if everybody else would just pit and make mistakes while they're in there, that would be great. Now, do we tell Silvera to let him through? She won't be thrilled about that. But frankly, at this point, she's just a massive disappointment. I mean, her car's clearly got pace, but we're not getting much progress. Although saying that, both my drivers are looking pretty handy in terms of the number of laps that they can stay out for, and we've got 13th and 14th locked down. And it will go a little higher than that when the likes of Wu Yao and Masanella come in, and Mendes, they're all likely to come in quite quickly. Silvera's tyres are starting to look a little bit more edgy now, but even then she's on full conserve on them, so I think they're going to last a little while longer if we're a little lucky. So what do we got? Who's this interloper? That's Playmoto, who has managed to slot himself in between Hazel and Silvera there, with Plastic snapping at their heels. But Hazel gets past. Well, there you go. In your face, Playmoto. But let's not forget, Playmoto is driving with a broken neck this weekend, and that's never going to be ideal. We're going to have to ease off here, chaps. Those tyres are getting awfully warm. I don't want to do it because when you drive that way, you're not going to get anywhere at all. We can possibly up the tempo on Silvera a little bit to try and close the gap on the next one, but we've created quite the racing bunch here, and that just got even more crowded. Silvera not letting anybody past. She's very much standing on the crumbling bridge with the Balrog approaching, banging her staff against the stone and saying, "You shall not overtake." And I'm going to bring her into the pits after this lap. This time, please. Right. Well, we may not have of a winning strategy here, but it does look like we might be able to finish within range of our kind of sponsorship goal, which would be nice. Parts all look okay. The engine's a little bit flaky, but that's not so bad. We'll go fast again, just cause. Meanwhile, Hazel's got at least 2, maybe 3 more laps before I'm going to need to bring him in. I want to up his tyre usage again, pretty swiftly, in fact, because he's now well off the pace while he's trying to nurse those tyres. Maybe we go through them a little bit quicker to keep him competitive. But again, if they heat up, that's not going to do us any favours in the long run. As Silvera comes into the pits, everything looks pretty clean. Looked like a clean pit stop. But she isn't. She is at the back of the pack again after her second stop. And let's not forget that quite a few drivers have come in for 3 now. And what have we got left? We've still got 13 laps to go. So this is going to be a 4-stop race. It's going to be a 4-stop race for some drivers. We're not going to be among them, but the question is that going to help us get to the kind of position that we actually need in order to compete? Now, flipping tyres have overheated like you wouldn't believe. Oh, man. All right, Canaan and come in. Right, okay, let's, well, you can't go, you know what, actually, back it up. Let's put the good tyres on. We want this is going to be a last stop, Nick. All right? 12 laps remaining after the pit stop. You are going to have to drive like a nun, Nicholas. All right? Like a nun. I'm going to put you on nun racing settings as soon as you come in. Right, Hazel's back out in 19th, Silvera's in 20th, but I'm really hoping that is Hazel's last stop. If it is, then I don't know, anything could happen. But he's 70 seconds away from the lead. He'll close in on that because they've all got to come in for another pit stop. He might even close in a few more places as he goes past the pit lane now. Or not, as the case may be. He's blue flagged as Masilella comes through, pulling his happy Masilella face. Quite how Masilella's only had 2 stops, and those tyres still look pretty good. That's upsetting to me. We've got technical difficulties with Wu Yao. Right now, what we want is accidents and retirements. Hazel's form is down to 1.1, and what the hell has happened to Silvera? She looked so good in practice, and now she's a joke, frankly. If we can finish the race, that'd be terrific, because after the joys of last weekend, we just do not have it this weekend. Whatever, the magic formula is missing, and this could be another incident of the curse of the early season. Nurse the tyres, don't let them heat up. Where the other drivers or the other teams, I should say, tend to have a very weak showing at the first few races, and then settle down quite quickly, whereas we tend to do quite well in the first couple of races and then slip off the pace very quickly. Now, we've done enough, I think, already to complete our sponsors' objectives this season, but we're not going to do any better than that at this current with this current situation. There just is nothing promising about this kind of driving, and it could well be the track that is part of the problem, in that it does favour acceleration, and that's not our thing. We're more of a top speed team, although a couple of seasons ago you could definitely point to us and say, yes, those chaps do know a thing or two about accelerating. But that is clearly not the case anymore. Wolfrath has gone into the pits again. And there he goes, his third pit stop. Both my two might get away with just 2 pit stops, I think. What have we got left here? 6 laps to go. Vanessa's tyres are going to give out before then, but she does have the fuel at least to finish off. Hazel's got plenty of fuel. We're up into 16th, and he is, what's that, 5 seconds adrift of the next place up. Let's stick him on a slightly more aggressive fuel strategy for a lap and see where that gets him. But again, the tyre temperature is heating up. I honestly couldn't tell you. I mean, have we chosen Duff tyres? What is it? I mean, is it something down to the suspension? Because we're just chewing through tyres, and Megahertz, who's in 4th right now, has had 4 pit stops. Longo, who's only just behind us, has had 4 pit stops. I'm at something of a loss, friends, to understand exactly where this has come unstuck for us. But it very much has come unstuck. We are not the team that we were looking at this time last week, where the world was potentially our oyster. And if not our oyster, then it was certainly a cockle. No, we are a long way off the pace this weekend. It doesn't look like any more pit stops are going to happen. So unless there is a massive pile-up of some case, just back up the tyres then. I'm not pitting you again. Keep them alive. You're in 17th now. You're going to get overtaken because you're hopeless. We will be the only team to have stopped twice only. Hooray! Goes to show that that's possible. If you drive like you're going to, I don't know. Nicholas Hazel's form is now 0%. He's not driving to any part of his ability in the slightest. Well, there's no real surprises there. 2 laps to go, and this has been woeful. Thomas is in the pits. Well, she'll be able to go into the pits and out of the pits before we get anywhere near to where she is. So if I was her, I really wouldn't worry about it. Yeah, we're burning fuel like we just don't care. I'll tell you what, you can do the same thing. Spin out. Do something interesting. Amaze me, Silvera. Show me what you're actually capable of, because right now, the boy Hazel is going to have the better car next weekend, because those are the team rules, and those are the team rules. We set those rules up as a motivating factor. Hazel's looking like he might overtake someone. Well, there's a thing. Well, we can hope for people running out of fuel. That would be entertaining, wouldn't it? Come on, Nicholas. See if you can get 15th, or whoever that is. Oh no, they finished. Okay. Well, you got 15th. See if you can get 14th. Go on. I'll let you thrash the car for the last bit of the race. We've got the fuel. The tyres have got some life left in them. No, he hasn't got enough. Yep, that sucked. You're not wrong. That did suck. I gave you every opportunity to do better than this. In fact, Hazel, I can't really blame you for that either, because you're in the sucky car. Yeah, it just went wrong. The minimum stop strategy there, which should have put us in good stead, meant that we spent so much time looking out for the car that we didn't get anywhere. But that said, even when we were out being slightly more aggressive, we still didn't manage to perform. Silvera dropping back right from the very start of the race, despite driving like a maniac. Whether she cooked her tyres too early, hard to tell. She came in on lap 7. Lap 7, I'm telling you. Whereas 00 stayed out till 10, then did another long, and then did a short, which is, that's pretty smart. Well, okay, well, that's monumentally disappointing. Oh, checking the cars. We did break the rules, but they didn't catch us. Ha ha ha, you can't stop me, copper. We didn't get our sponsorship payment this week, which is, again, bitterly disappointing. 11 points for the team. Dragon Race Team China, who are currently bottom, managed 11 points. That tells you something. Predator, however, with Swans and Mush, they only managed 5 points. So, you know, there's some consolation to be had there. That puts Hazel up a place and Vanessa down a couple. And clearly there is going to be a fierce rivalry between these two. Drops the team down a place as well. We sink to a disappointing 5th. We're going to have to turn this around in the next race, or you know, or we won't, I suppose. Archer BMR, I hope you guys lose. In fact, I've got money on. Who knows? Congratulations, Hans 00. Can we just give him the trophy already? You know, that would make more sense. Rachel Noy, yeah, just reporting the results. As is Motor Racing Magazine. Clearly that's the hot thing these days, is just, you know, let people know where they finish. And then here's all the hype from before the race that we totally failed to live up to. So ultimately a very disappointing weekend. Silvera was just did not turn up, had the better car, just was a no-show this weekend. I don't know what to tell you. But hopefully we will be able to do better next time, because I can't really afford to be burning $1 million a race if I want to be making some significant improvements to the car as we go. So there's confirming the results that we knew already. I've been Colonel Failure. Thank you very much for watching today. Be sure to follow @BulldozerPower on Twitter if you want to keep up with the gossip, which is, you know, well, it's gossip-like, isn't it? I'll be back with the next race next week. I hope to see you there. Throw a like at this one if you're as disappointed as I am, and subscribe to voice your disapproval yet further. Thanks for watching. Cheerio.